And actually, if we spent less money overall, we probably would see less inflation, more prosperity, and the type of economic growth that we saw during President Trump's time in office. USAID may have started with laudable goals, but today they're promoting abortion globally with American tax dollars. They are pushing President Biden's national gender strategy. I never thought we needed a national gender strategy, but if we need a national gender strategy, can we at least not spend so much money promoting it abroad? Silly.
These cuts would impose tremendous harm and suffering to the most vulnerable, including 4 million children with malaria will go untreated. 350,000 deaths attributable to tuberculosis, 13 million fewer children vaccinated, resulting in a possible 115,000 additional deaths, and a reduction of over 45% of humanitarian assistance to Sudan compared to FY 2023 levels. This doesn't sound much like pro-life to me, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This amendment reduces the amount of funding allocated to USAID by $4.5 billion. As I've mentioned earlier, USAID is a vehicle through which the American taxpayer pays for economic development in other countries. The DEI programs that are embedded in the 1619 project have been embraced by United Nations Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield, and we see that continue to manifest through USAID. American taxpayers should focus their resources and their efforts on the American people and the American economy. This is a thoughtful reduction. It should be easily agreed to, and I reserve the balance of my time.
Once again, I have no idea what my colleagues are trying to achieve. All this amendment would do is double down on the harm Russia's aggression has already wreaked on the poorest countries of the world through higher food, fertilizer, and fuel costs. This amendment would cut $750 million each from global health programs and the international disaster assistance accounts. It would also eliminate entire development assistance accounts, affecting agriculture and food security programs, education, and clean water for millions of the most vulnerable people in the world. Development assistance is also used for counter-PRC influence programs, which represents one of our more effective tools to counter and compete with the PRC globally. It's really ridiculous, it's cruel, and it is not pro-life. These are not funds that would target to Ukraine in any significant way. It has no impact on the Ukraine debate and would inflict harm on millions of people. So I'd be happy to discuss with colleagues about how we support Ukraine's pursuit of freedom, but this amendment would only alienate the rest of the world and forsake many of our allies' reliant assistance on the United States. I urge my colleagues to oppose this amendment, and I reserve the balance of my time.
Now, I don't think it's an unrealistic position to say that the United States of America should not deficit spend to retire the debt of other countries. Think about that. We are borrowing money from China to go settle the debts of Ukraine that they accrued far before this war with Russia.
Mr. Chairman, let me just suggest this. It really is an unrealistic position for the United States to allow 4 million children with malaria to go untreated, to allow 350,000 deaths attributable to tuberculosis, to allow 13 million fewer children vaccinated, resulting in a possible 115,000 additional deaths, and a reduction of over 45% of humanitarian assistance to Sudan compared to 2023 levels. Very unrealistic, cruel, and unusual.